Welcome to 131XR, and today we're going to be talking about Bloodious Games' MADiSON. MADiSON is the long-awaited VR remake of Bloodious Games' flat-screen horror adventure. The game is a slow-burn psychological horror. There's puzzle-solving elements and story delivery, but there's no cutscenes in the game. All of the story is delivered directly to you as the embodiment of the character Luca. It's a very atmospheric and creepy game. In fact, some people might find it too scary at times. However, the Quest 3S version that we've been using for this review doesn't quite stand up to the same level of visual fidelity as the PSVR 2 version. It doesn't hamper the experience, but if you've already played it on PSVR 2, you'll notice the difference. The game is very dark in places, with lights flickering on and off, and it can be a bit disorientating. When you begin the game, MADiSON doesn't have the best introduction. It's a series of 2D images showing the interactions that you can have, and when a VR game has to spell out to you that you can use your hands to pick up things, it's probably not a good sign. Once you get into the game, you'll discover that the instant camera is one of the main mechanics in the game. This is the kind of camera that people of a certain age will be very familiar with, where you take a picture and it instantly develops that picture in physical form. This camera can be used to solve puzzles and uncover new areas, and all sorts of interactions are done through this device. Despite the introduction to the game being a bit basic, once you're playing, there is no hand-holding. You're expected to uncover clues and solve puzzles by yourself without being led down a checkpoint system or anything similar. The game uses classic horror tropes, like item shifting when you move away, and then back again when you look at them. There's also plenty of jump scares involved. As we said earlier, this game might be a bit too scary for a lot of people. The level of immersion that VR brings is very different to playing a game like this, or the original, on a flat screen. Speaking of immersion, MADiSON's a bit of a mixed bag. The visual quality, the darkness of the environment, and the soundtrack are generally pretty good. However, it's easy to tell that MADiSON was based on a flat screen game originally. There's plenty of press B to do this, or areas marked with different floating indicators showing where you should be going and what you should be interacting with. Even though, as we said, there's no hand-holding for solving the puzzles, there is plenty of leftover markers from the non-VR version of the game. There's areas where you're supposed to be placing an object and you'll get a solid green or red marker showcasing where the object's supposed to be. And this just feels lazy. It takes you out of the VR experience and it makes you realise that this, in actual fact, is just a video game. You'll also find that very few items are interactive, and those that can be interacted with are very clearly highlighted. The controls are pretty janky, often making items difficult to pick up. While some players might find MADiSON a bit too scary, the immersive nature of VR as a whole does elevate horror quite significantly. Other players who are familiar with the kind of experience that's available here might find the game a bit too sedate. It does move forward at a snail's pace. The need to solve puzzles off your own regard is interesting. The fact that once you've started on a path, it's up to you to reach it to its conclusion. However, the indicators that are left over from the original 2D version of the game do kind of soften that level of immersion. While you may feel that there are jump scares and the atmosphere is quite foreboding, you never really feel like you're in this world. You're simply playing through the motions. So MADiSON is a very capable VR game. It's very scary in places, but it's certainly not the highest tier of VR horror that we've experienced so far. Bloodious Games' MADiSON is available now for MetaQuest headsets, priced at £24.99 or your local currency equivalent. If you're a horror game fan, it's worth checking out. However, if you just want to dabble your toes in the genre in VR, there are better horror game experiences out there.